microphone. So hopefully it works the way I want it to. We have a guest on today. His name is Andrew Johnstone, correct?
Yes,
Saying
that's
that correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
He has an Instagram page called The Present Father. He reached out in one of my polls about bringing on a podcast guest, and I'm actually really excited about this. He's going to drop the hammer with you guys about just fatherhood and leadership and life and doing the things, and he's figuring it out the same as I am, and he's learned a ton. So I'm really. We were just chatting before this. I think it's gonna be really cool. So without
Cool.
further ado, Andrew, why don't you tell us? Start with a little bit of background about yourself, and maybe lead into why you started the Present Father.
Okay, so thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be on here too. So, a little bit about me, right? So, um, I grew up in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Um, Very athletic kid, very outgoing. Diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 6. Took Adderall from first to eighth grade. While I was growing, I believe that the Adderall actually stunted my growth because it suppressed my appetite so much.
Wow.
But while I was, growing up, I was also determined that my growth plates weren't growing. So I was actually 3 to 4 years behind um, everybody else in my age group. So I was actually put onto um, a small injection every day of human growth hormones to help me grow. So now I'm 5'8". I think I was supposed to be that anyway, but I don't know. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But um, I at the age of 12, I got into some legal trouble just from doing some very impulsive things. Ended up hurting some people, and went and actually faced some some court time where I was actually uh, fighting to not go to juvenile detention.
Jeez,
But
wow.
they were able to determine that my brain at the time was the same mental capacity as an 8-year-old. So it's not that like it was an excuse, but it was just like, hey, look, this kid just clearly can't cope or comprehend what he's actually doing at all times, which
Wow.
is not an excuse, but at the same time, I just
Yeah.
that's what's made me so much. Going through that situation made me so much more self-aware of what I do, who I'm around, how I handle things and whatnot. So
Wow.
moving on, played sports in high school, football for 4 years, soccer, tons of different athletics. Went to college, junior college for soccer, and then dropped out. Reason that I went to junior college was just lack of sheer not wanting to do grades, take care of education, things like that. So another reason, another door closed in my favor, or not in my favor. When I dropped out of junior college, I went back home. I started working in food and bev. Started working maintenance at a golf course, and then I was just living that food and beverage life, waking up late, going to work, staying out late, going out drinking, doing drugs, things like that. And I was living at my dad's house at the time. My dad eventually came and said, "Look, dude, you ain't doing anything around here. You either need to move out, or you need to move, look into the military." So I went and looked into the military. I joined the Navy in 2016. I was stationed in Japan, Sasebo, Japan, for 4 years. But before I joined the military, the main reason why I joined is because when I got out of junior college, I started to, with the alcohol and drugs, I started to develop very, very high anxiety, very, very
Mm.
like paranoia and depression.
Yeah.
And it was like eating me alive. So my dad really recommended the military because of the structure, the discipline. He was like, dude, you have none of this right now, and you're not working out at all like you used to growing up. So maybe that would help. And sure enough, going to boot camp, I was like, man, I feel like a killer again, you know?
Let's go.
So, yeah, so joined the military, went over to Japan. My first flight to my ship was actually in Australia. So I flew to Japan and then immediately flew to um, Cairns, Australia, which is on the northeast part of Australia. Met my ship there, was on board for a month, watched a helicopter with 26 people crash into our flight deck, killing 3 people.
Jeez.
And that really put life into perspective, because growing up, I just kind of had this I don't give a shit kind of attitude, but it
Yeah.
really put it in perspective. Like, any second something could happen and I'm not here anymore. So that opened my eyes. Um, from that situation, I decided I didn't want to be sidelined, because I was like, what do I do in this situation? I saw rescue swimmers getting in the water, and I said, I want to do that. They sent me to train. I trained for like, a month or two. And then they sent me to search and rescue school in Jacksonville, Florida for a month. I got qualified as a search and rescue swimmer, where I was the primary star swimmer for the next 3.5 years on board,
Jeez.
doing, ship survival, man overboard operations, things like that. Never had to save anyone's life, really. I mean, we had a swim call where people thought they could swim and they couldn't, and we're in the Marianas Trench. But I'm like, hey, if I could let you drown and you'll sink 12,000 feet, or I can just pull you into the boat. But yeah, so I don't really count it as anything, but I'm sure some people are thankful that I was there. So um, once I got out, COVID hit, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to happen, because I really wanted to become a SEAL. And so with the lack of transportation and transferring, I was like, man, I'm 24, 25 years old. Like, I don't want to waste the next, 5 years of my 20s just doing not what I want to be doing. Like, I see what's going on in the States. They have a lot more freedom. And I'm like, once my contract's up, I can go do whatever I want. I don't have to listen to all these government rules. I don't have to listen to somebody above me tell me what I can and can't do, which was kind of what I had a problem with at times, being in the military. So I got out. I came back. I wanted to get into sales. I got into sales and did door to door. Got my foot in the door, learning that for a whole summer, and then I went into personal training. So, because my whole life I wanted to do real estate, got my CPT. So on the side, while I was doing door to door, got my CPT, became a head trainer at a place called F45.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was a head trainer there, at West Ashley Charleston studio for a couple months, where I had met my wife. Met my wife there. We started dating in February, and we were pregnant in June. And so once I realized that, that was another eye-opening experience, where it's like, time to put the big boy pants on and figure some shit out. So
Hmm.
um, when I did that, I said, okay, well, I can't personal train for $2,000 a month. I got to find something else. So a friend of mine said, come do some solar down in Houston, Texas. I did great. I made about $40,000 in 3 months. Not to like throw out a bunch of numbers like that. I don't like doing that, but just to give some perspective. My wife was then determined to be high risk pregnancy, and she wanted to be back home in Charleston with her family and family doctor and stuff. So it's like another sacrifice. Had to make a sacrifice and say, do I want to give up this job that's going to pay me a lot of money, or do I want to be a leader for a nucleus of a family? Because I grew up with parents divorced at age 8. So
Mm.
went to Charleston, got a job, and now that's where I'm at right now. It's called Tides Trading,
Let's go.
where I'm a trader for a direct importer and supplier of bulk food ingredients to global food and beverage manufacturers. Um, I do that, and now I have 2 kids, 2 daughters. One just turned 2. The other one is almost 9 months old at the end of this month. But I started the Present Father to get to the point. I started the Present Father because over the last 2 years, obviously, as you just heard, things have been a little crazy. I just bought a house last February. So just when people talk about the main stressors in your life, they talk about getting married, having kids, buying a house, getting a new job. Well, I went through all of that within the span of 2 years.
Dude, yeah, that's
And
crazy.
so it was very hard for me to prioritize myself.
Mm.
And then I'm 28, almost 29, and none of my close personal friends I mean, I have a lot of people that I'm friends with, but I'm talking like my best friends that I talk to on the daily. None of them have kids yet,
Yeah.
and so it can be very lonely, and not a lot. Like when you're talking to your mom, you're talking to your mother-in-law, you're talking to your dad, like they'll give you perspective, but it's hard when you don't have that camaraderie from your boys, because they're out drinking or they're going and doing bonfires or parties or whatever, and I'm like, I go to work, I go home, I spend time with family because I'm trying to be intentional about how I raise them, two girls especially. And then, they're doing whatever, and they just, just like I felt in Japan, it's like when you're out of sight, you're out of mind. And it's not because people don't like you, it's just how we're wired.
Yeah.
Um, so that can be lonely. So I wanted to start the Present Father because, I wanted to be kind of the beacon for other people to, one, see, and sympathize and go, oh, I relate to that guy. Also, just anybody in general that wants to see some guy that's driven to, improve himself, old, young, male, female, dads, brothers, mothers, whatever. I want them to go, hey, he's getting after it. You see people post all the time, and you go, man, he's doing something. What's he doing? And then you
Yeah.
go, you're kind of encouraged yourself, and then you're like, I want to. It's like an envy, but it's like a jealousy, and then it's also like a good for him, but I want to, like, I want to do that, and then
Yeah. I know
they
exactly what
all
you mean.
kind of. It's a big brewing pot of emotions, but I was like, let me be that person, and regardless of whatever it looks like, if it's cringy, if it's embarrassing, whatever, let me just put it out there, and for myself, to keep myself accountable, because I owe it to myself to be consistent, present, and committed to this, because it helps me commit to myself, which therefore outwardly
Yes.
flows into the rest of my life. I mean, my relationship since I started it hasn't been better.
Oh,
We've
that's
been,
awesome, man.
yeah, we've been great because I've got, I wanted to talk to you about this too, but I've dedicated my day. I set up on December 31st. I went from, all right, what time do I want to wake up in the morning? All right, 5:45. So 5:45, okay, 6 o'clock. I've got it leveled out, and I could send you a screenshot. But six
Just your
o'clock.
whole your task list. It just
But it
whatever.
doesn't just, yeah, it doesn't say just the time. It says what to do. So like
Yeah.
at 12 o'clock, it says lunch, take a break. At 1 o'clock, it says run or move. And then at 1:30, it says back to work. And or at like 6 o'clock, it's wake up, drink 16 ounces. Then at 6:10, it's, morning's mobility. And then at 6:30, it's morning workout. And then 7, it's like uh, ice bath and nutrition. So there's flexibility with it, but every day things pop up and they take your mind away from things. And that's why staying present is my biggest thing with this, because the alarms help me stay present and structured like the military, so that I can be the most productive and efficient with my time, because so
Yes.
many times you get on your phone, you start scrolling, you're like, what time? Oh my god, I didn't realize it. Or
Mm-hmm.
I'm deep in work. Oh my god, I forgot to stand up and move. My body hurts.
Yep.
Or whatever. So by having these little reminders, they're going, hey Andrew, like, time to do this. And then I go, all right, I'll do that in 5 minutes. Let me set a timer for 5 minutes. But it reminds me, oh, I need to eat today. Because sometimes you're
Yeah.
so busy, doing your job. I'm sure you forget to eat plenty. And you're like, oh,
100%.
I need to eat right now. So that's just kind of the long, short version um, of me and why I started that. So,
Dude, okay, so first off, let me give you a compliment. That was
uh,
like that was probably one of the best like overviews and run throughs I've heard from someone like with their life. It was very succinct, it was very detailed. That was great, man. I love
thanks.
that.
I
Um
appreciate it.
you've experienced a lot. You're 28 right now, 29?
Yeah, I'm about to be 29 on the 30th of March.
Yeah, so you have because I and the reason I say that is because I think when other people listen to guys like ourselves talk, we're still relatively young. Like I
Yes,
just
for sure.
turned
What do you
32.
know? What do
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's like, how can you tell me what to do? And so I think it's important that we do share our experiences because those experiences impart wisdom. And so
Oh, for
they
sure.
give you your credibility to say, hey, I've gone through this. Like dealing with the court at 12 years old, it's like I didn't experience that. So like you can share wisdom that someone else. So it's like I love that you shared all those details.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about your schedule.
Yeah. Let's
I'm
talk
really
about it.
fascinated with that. So, because I think people get so caught up in like, what should I do first in the morning, and how do I do this, and blah blah blah. And it's like, it's really important that you do detail things out. So,
Mhm.
will you go into a little bit more like what software do you use for that? How did you create it?
So, um, one of my there's two favorite quotes of mine, and the first one is not my own, and the second one is my own. I created it, but the first one was literally the epitome of me in life. Right? It's Albert Einstein. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to live its whole life thinking it's stupid. And that's where I fell into place with the ADHD in school settings, because it was like you're grading me. I'm sure you were in school and that it's like you got your gifted and talented programs or your accelerated programs or
I wasn't
whatever.
in those.
Oh yes, yeah, and I wasn't in them, but all my friends were. So it made me feel like shit.
Like you're
And
dumb, like you're
yeah,
stupid,
like
like
I'm
you don't
dumb.
fit in.
And then, when I didn't accomplish or I didn't apply myself, then I'm hearing that stuff too from like my dad. And then you go, okay, well, maybe I am just an idiot. And that's why in high school, it's like, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to be really good at sports and be really socially, like, a social butterfly with people, because for 2 years, I didn't have that while I'm going through a court system. And it's like, that was the most lonely part of my life. But when I'm in high school, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm talking to people, but I don't fit into the 8 hour a day schedule.
Yeah.
But then the second quote is, and this applies to the timer. It's like, don't focus so much on the goal and the distance, just the next step to get you there.
Mm,
And so that's why the in-depthness of the schedule is, we're sitting here going, I've got to do this. I've got to get here. I've got to get there. And like, even just like if you haven't worked out in a while, you kind of go, where do I start? What do I
yeah.
do? And it's like, dude, I don't care. Like when I was training to go, I had all of my package ready to go into the SEALs actually. But the way I started was like, I know they do a lot of push-ups. I'm just gonna start by doing 5 push-ups, and then randomly I'm gonna like think about it again, and I'm gonna do another 5 push-ups just wherever I'm at. And I want to accumulate 500 push-ups in a day.
I love that.
So like randomly, I'm just dropping down to the floor and doing 5 push-ups,
I
but
love it.
like at the same time, I'm accomplishing a massive goal on a short scale, and I got there. And
That's
then
awesome.
so now it's like, okay, well, I need to make sure I eat today. When am I going to do that? I need to make sure I work out today. When am I going to do that? I need to make sure I, do some daily devotional. When am I going to do that today? So what I've done is actually in Chat GPT, I just put into there like what time I'm waking up. So create a schedule from this point to this point, go to bed at 10:15, and this is what time I work from 8:30 to 5. I want to work out in the morning, preferably. I want to do an ice bath. I want to, eat in the morning, like make breakfast. And I just kind of gave it some more detailed stuff. But I
Mm,
said, like, create a detailed daily plan. And then what I did is it gave me it. It said, like, 6 o'clock, wake up, drink 16 ounces of water. 6:05, get up, do 10 to 15 minutes of mobility, because those are the things that are important to me. But it's helping me structure it all out. I mean, it's the easy way, but why not just do it that way, And so
dude.
it structured it out for me. And then what I did is I went into my phone, into my Apple alarms. I did add alarm, and then I did the time, and then I wrote the description out. So now every time that alarm goes off, it pops up for me and shows me exactly what I need to be doing at that time. And then of course, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I have to do that. Like if a kid's screaming and I'm missing time, like, okay, let's be flexible here.
Right.
Sometimes in the evening, Oh, I start dinner at 6 o'clock. Yeah, okay, that's just a reminder to eat dinner. I'm gonna eat dinner at 7 o'clock. I'll actually just at this time, I'll do this part of that, and you kind of just. But they're good reminders to go. Oh, Andrew, like time to do this. Oh, don't forget to do this. Instead of like setting these little reminders that you see pop up notifications on your phone and you like forget to look at them, because I've done that too. Like
Oh,
send me a reminder, and then I've got a reminder from 5 days ago that I haven't even like looked at.
yeah. Oh yeah, been there.
But the alarm, it goes over the whole phone and it makes loud noise, and it's like, oh, you have to actively turn it off, and it makes you pay attention to it. So
Yeah. So okay. So do you? Two things.
yeah,
One, have you shared with your audience to use like to steal that Chat GPT prompt for to like?
no, I haven't.
Oh, dude, you 100% should. Just
Yeah,
be like, hey, blah blah blah. Like, just give them something to use. That's so awesome. Um,
I
but
did
two,
post my thing though, so like the actual alarms, I did post that. So, but I'll put that out there.
well, yeah. Well, and so that was my next question. So for the alarms, do you like how many alarms do you have? Do you have like 30 alarms that go off, or do you just like do you pick it, or is it literally like alarm, 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 alarm?
Yeah, so it's like no, I'm not. I'm dead serious. Like I wish I had a picture of it so I could post it up, but maybe like am
That
I
is
able
so.
to like screen share or not?
Oh, dude,
I don't want to
don't.
do it. I don't want to mess it
I
up,
was gonna
but
say, yeah, I don't. I'm not super familiar with Riverside yet. You wait, hold on.
wait, I could.
I can hit screen share. I don't know if you can on your phone though.
No, it's fine.
Dang. So you have like 20 alarms that go off
Yeah,
during the
so
day.
like literally, I'm not kidding. At 6 o'clock, it's drink water. 6:05, it's this. At 6:15, it's daily devotional, like mental care. 6:20, it's workout, 30 to 45 minutes. 7 o'clock, it's ice bath, 3 to 5 minutes. And then at 6:10 or 7:10, it's morning nutrition. At 8 o'clock or 7:45, it's morning hygiene, shower. And then at 8:10, it's daily devotional again, um, where I'm actually like listening. I'm doing a plan with the Bible where I'm listening to it in chronological order.
Oh, there's always
Uh,
truth.
yeah, yeah. So I'm doing that on my walk to work. I live 10-minute walk from work, and then at 8:30 it says get to like start work. At 11 it tells me get up and move. At 11:30 it tells me snack. 12 o'clock lunch. 1 o'clock it says run like or do like active movement.
Yeah.
1:30, because I'll do like around here is 2 miles. There's like a little trail I found that's exactly 2 miles back to my office, so I'll do that. And then at 1:30 it's back to work. At 3:30 it's get up and move. At 4 o'clock it's lock in, and then at 6 o'clock dinner. 7:30 active movement. I'll do like yoga with my wife, or we'll go on a walk. 8 o'clock is mental care. So like read a book or something. 8:30 is 10 to 15-minute clean, like around the house, just picking up because
Oh yeah.
kids.
Oh yeah.
9 o'clock is like morning or nighttime routine. So like getting myself prepped, and then 10:15 is bed.
That's awesome, dude.
So I kind of just fit stuff. It doesn't all take that long, but you just kind of fit it in there, and then go on and do whatever you want. Like we'll watch a show at the end of the night or something, and
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it goes longer than 10:15. But like at least I'm like, oh, I remember I need to go to bed, because then you look at your watch and you're like, it's 11 o'clock. What the heck am I doing up?
Yeah. And so for every one of those, an alarm goes off.
Yep.
Okay. How does your wife feel about that? Is she all for it? She love it?
She doesn't mind it because she doesn't like the only one that wakes her up is the first one. But
In the
like
morning.
you wake up and it's the same as a kid waking you up, because we co-sleep actually. So
Yeah.
my oldest sleeps between us, and then we have a crib pushed up against the side of our bed with the other one. So but we like it that way. It's really it's really nothing. Like
Yeah.
I know people are like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "Dude, it feels great when that kid rolls over and like you can just hold him on your chest
Oh,
and
dude, same. So like I sleep with myself. Like when I have him on the nights I
yeah,
have him, dude,
mm,
he crashes with me, and it's great. He's always like, "Can I sleep on your arm?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, you can."
yeah, dude. Like, and
Even if our sleep's not that great, it's so worth it.
I've seen a video of like some sort of doctor, and I think it was actually more of like the Indian culture that does it a lot. But they let their kids. A lot of people let their kids sleep till like 6 or 8. I'm not saying we're gonna do that, but like she related it to like nighttime terrors and wetting the bed and stuff. And
Hmm.
like you're putting these kids like because we're talking about emotional regulation when it comes to kids and like you're putting them in a situation and you're saying I'm trying to get you to conform to this because it's easier for me to sleep without you in here
Right.
instead of like people that travel, right? Oh, we go travel and then you take your kid on a plane who's never been traveling before and they don't know how to act because you never take them with them,
Hmm.
you know, versus like, oh yeah, it was hard for the first month because she's like trying to figure it out, but then she gets accustomed and you don't even feel her in the night, you know, you roll over and I'm like, hey, come here, I need you, like, you know, I want somebody to cuddle with. Um, but yeah, it like it's just a safe place. It's like a place of comfort and safety and security for them, you know, and especially for us, like I'm not looking to see what's in there. Who knows if they roll over and their face, you know, is against a pillow or a blanket's over their face or whatever. Like, or they, you know, now she's big enough. She climbs out. I used to climb out of my crib. What if she falls and accidentally, you know, breaks her neck or something? I'm not saying that you got to be paranoid, but like, that's just the reasons why we do it and we enjoy it. So,
No, dude, I love that. Actually, I listened to a podcast um, not too long. Actually, I say not too long ago. It's probably like 2 years ago now. It was called the Dad Edge. So very similar to like what you do, just posting content about just being a great dad and like on those lines. But
mhm.
he did a Q&A with like his clients, and one of them was like, "Hey, we're trying to establish healthy habits with our kids. We want them to sleep in their beds, and they're not, so it's messing up our sleep and our schedule."
Mhm.
And they didn't even address how to fix it. They were
Mhm.
like, the main guy was like, "Dude, if I could go back in time and my kids are the age that your kids are now, I would never kick them out of the bed." He's like,
Yeah.
I would want them there every night." And when I heard that, it completely changed my mindset because I was doing something. I was like, "We want Maverick to be in the crib and then in bed,"
Yeah.
and I was like,
Love
"Absolutely."
that name, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We would
Mhm.
still put him in the crib, but as soon as he would cry, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, I got you. Come here." And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. Like, maybe there's science behind, like, they need to be able to like self soothe and all these things. But I was like, he wants love. He likes it. I like it, and he's 3. It's like I don't see a problem with it.
You know, and if there are negative connotations from it, I haven't seen them yet. I mean, my daughter is like the relationship between the two of them and how she listens to us. And yeah, she's 2. She'll have, you know, emotional moments, but like she is the sweetest person. She listens. She does like, I haven't seen anything that tells me what we're doing is making her behavior like negative. I haven't seen anything. Like all of I'm like, dang, I'm raising a good daughter right now. Like she is amazing. I love her to death. She doesn't do anything. Like yeah, she has moments, but at the same time like, oh, something's happening and I don't know how to process it. Like that's not her fault. It's just part of learning. So it's
Part of
my
growing, yeah.
job to be which I struggle a lot at times and I've actually been working on it, but like regulating my own emotions and not getting upset and not having these outbursts where it's like, shut up, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
because what does that teach? That doesn't teach anything. What I need to help her do is learn to regulate these things so she doesn't have the same type of temper or emotions that I have on a anger level.
Dude, yeah, it's so funny how like raising kids is really you learning how to raise yourself.
Yeah,
It's like
that's totally.
you have to like fix all of your things, or you have to deal with the stuff you haven't dealt with before you can even like attempt to help them. Like you still can. Don't get me wrong. Like and you,
Yeah.
but like you just alluded to, there's moments where it's like that knee jerk reaction. It's still going on internally. It's like
Mm-hmm.
still got stuff to process. I still got stuff to
Yeah.
work through. I got to figure this thing out.
100%.
It's like man,
100%.
Um, I want to highlight this, and we'll have to wrap up probably in the next 10 minutes, only because for some reason my computer's not charging.
That's fine.
It says we're at 6%, and the last thing I want is for the podcast to cut off mid sentence. I'm watching it right now. I still got to figure something out with this whole technology thing. So for those of you out there listening, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this.
No worries.
But what I want to hit on is, I think you and I's story is very similar. In
Hmm.
that you guys got pregnant before you got married,
Yep.
right? So my ex and I, we never got married. We were engaged, and then it ended and all that. But like we went through very similar. Like, oh crap, like we're not married. I didn't have like a stable job or career. Like I wasn't bringing in money, and it was like it was just terrifying, you know. And you're like,
Hmm.
what do I do? And so I would love for you to share maybe some of the emotions you felt and kind of how you addressed it. You just walk people through that process because it's terrifying.
Oh man. I mean, my wife Hannah, she joked. She's like, I was gonna have it regardless of what you said. Like I would have just, I was. She wanted it. So I can't. I always joke she trapped me, but no, I'm just kidding. She's the catch. So the emotions were definitely, dude. It was terrifying because like that. You know, you've had if you're kind of a knucklehead and active and stuff, you're constantly like, oh, thank goodness that didn't happen. You know, you have your scares and stuff. And this one wasn't a scare. It was like, you just drop, you know, like of whatever's inside of you, like blood, just the holy cow. I just felt like I was on a roller coaster. And then you're like, we got to do something about this. Like, we can't have this kid. Like, there's no way we can have this kid. Like, it's not my, it didn't match my moral, like, my ideology, but at the same time you always talk about like what you wouldn't do until it happens to you, and then you're like, wait, you're going against what you thought you would, you know. And then it was like, no, 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 we can't. And like we explored the options, and then it was like all I could think about too was like, and I was about to force her, you know, to really she's like, she left it up to me, and I was about to force her, but I talked to one of my buddies about it because I really didn't want to tell anybody, and I talked to him, and then he told me about this story between his um, dad and his stepmom at the time, and he was like, they got pregnant, and then they, you know, did that, and it like ruined them, or like it ruined her, or whatever. Because you hear stories about like the like not postpartum, but like the post
Oh yeah.
whatever, and like the because as soon as she's pregnant there's like a connection, and so she feels it. So when on I just oops, sorry,
Hold
you know
on.
what it was?
Oh, you had an incoming call.
No, I had an alarm go off.
Oh, okay.
It was my 1 o'clock alarm. Is that gonna mess everything up?
It shouldn't. Hold on. Let me see what it says. It says it's still recording.
Okay.
Does it say it's recording on your end? You have a
Yeah,
green
it just
dot.
shows me 22 seconds, like it like it's a new recording again.
Yeah. When I'll go in there and I'll splice them together.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
It
so
happened to me one time with my brother. You're good.
okay. um Yeah, so you know, I just was thinking to myself, like, okay, the one thing I don't want to do is because I really like love this person, is I don't want to like ruin the rest of their life and like put them in this depressive state, or make them like suicidal, or like whatever. Like I would just the guilt I would feel like, plus it's not, it doesn't even fit my ideology. Like this doesn't meet me. Like I don't believe in that. I you know, hey, if you want to do that, like I guess go do that yourself. I'm not really for that, but I don't want to do that myself. And then I started thinking, well, I've always wanted to be a dad. Like being in the military, like part of the reason why I got out, it's like I want to meet somebody and start a family. And I'm like, I want, you know, kids. Like I really want to be a dad. Like I think that's gonna be cool. Then I started talking about it, and I talked to another friend of mine who her brother had kids, and like he's doing fine. He's not married. He's got two, you know, baby mamas or whatever, like two mothers and to or kids to different mothers, and he's like he's doing fine. He's making it work, and it's like, and like then you think about like what everything happens for a reason, and like you'll work it out. Like you'll find a way. And the best thing that you can have in your life as a man is tribe and purpose. Like those are
Mm,
the two main things that you can have is a community that's around you that just supports you, which I have in my family, and then purpose, which is like, okay, well, I'm gonna be a dad now, and then I'll figure the rest out. Like I need to be a damn good dad because this kid's gonna depend on me, and I don't want this kid to grow up and be, a serial killer or like a shithead or like you're just thinking of the worst possible, but like
yeah.
I don't want them to grow up and be some sort of like scammer, or I want them to have the moral foundation, family values, and all that. So like after that, it was like once we kind of coordinated what we were going to do for work and get going through the process of like doctors and like let's just go see the next step. Okay, okay. Then you get on around and you're like, man, I'm actually like this is cool. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Like I'm pumped. And then you know, once it happens, it like every I know moms feel it the whole time because they're connected with the umbilical cord. There's a spiritual connection
Hmm.
between them, and it's very hard as a dad to empathize and relate to any of that they're going through because you're like, why, why are you so sick? Why can't you just like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on? You just can't. And then we went into an emergency C-section, and they were like, I'm sitting there, it's like 5 minutes is going by. Like it feels like the fastest moment of my life. I'm sitting there just like pumped with my wife, the curtains up. Next thing you know, they're like, all right, we're cutting through here. All right, we're good. Last stretch. And then all of a sudden you hear, "Wah," and then you turn around and like there's your kid, and you're like, it doesn't even, it's like looking at the Grand Canyon. You can't even like really like put it into perspective what this image, you just realize it's a big image, you just don't even really know how to comprehend
Yes.
how massive or what you're looking at. You're just like, whoa, okay, and then you just keep going about it. And but then like once you have some time to settle, man, it's the best decision that ever like that
Mm.
the best decision that ever happened because it's changed me completely. I've gotten sober. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of the stuff I used to do. Um, I don't go out and like party. I don't do any of that stuff. I mean, it's really great. Like
Yeah.
it's helped me accomplish getting a good job, getting a house, establishing better relationships with my family and her family through, though it was super tough, at times setting boundaries and getting acclimated to everybody. But now it's like, dude, this is awesome. I feel like I can actually breathe in my life and not feel, I don't feel the loneliness I felt. I don't feel the like lack of identity. I don't feel, because regardless, at the end of the day, I'm a, number one, I'm a man of God, but number two, I'm a husband, and and most importantly, I'm a father. But by being a very good husband, I can be a very good father. So
Yes, dude, dude. Okay, man, I have so many things I want to talk on with what you said.
yeah, we
Every
can do
time
this again, dude, if you want.
we will 100% will have to do it again. But what I was gonna say is, I really appreciate you being honest and candid there,
Thanks.
uh, because and I will 100% level with you. I went through something in college where I got a girl pregnant, and we
Mm,
were dating, and we weren't married, and the whole thing. And I wanted her to get a
yeah, an abortion.
abortion. I don't know if I'll get whatever.
Yeah,
And I was pushing that, and it totally went. You know what's funny is dude, it
it's
rocked me to,
selfish.
dude. It was selfish, but it rocked me to my core. And when I was like texting her about it, because I was back in Charlotte and she was
Yeah, yeah,
wherever I
yeah.
was. When I was texting her about it, I was working at a restaurant again, and
Mhm.
3 different times in one night, people like handed me something talking about Jesus. 3 different times. And every time they handed me something, they were just, hey, here, take this,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I threw it away. I crumbled it and threw it away. I was like, I can't look at it because I knew what I was doing was
yeah.
wrong.
Because it was, dude. It's weird. Like sometimes that stuff, and I would love to go more into that like at another time. But like I've had plenty of moments, like especially my decision to get out of the military is pretty much I was forcing myself to like won't get like during the COVID situation, forcing myself to like find a way to get over to Coronado to get into the SEAL training and get everything wrapped up. And it was just like, I was supposed to go to a ship and it burnt down. I don't know if you ever heard of the Bonhomme Richard. It like burnt at port. And so it was like, okay, I guess you're not going there anymore. And I'm like, that was my ticket out. Okay, this is literally them, God telling me like, this isn't meant for you anymore.
Yeah.
This is you had a great experience. You'll have this for the rest of your life. You've traveled, you've done all this stuff, you've experienced some cool shit, but like I've got more for you. And like sure enough, look at me now. And like the funny thing is like I'm sure people look at you now and they probably go like, dude, I know you've had some bumps in your road, but like I'm really proud of who you become. Like it's sick that you're a dad, and when you are like being a man, and I posted this on my thing, but like, a lot of people. I know it's. I'm not saying it's at 18, but a lot of people think they're a man at a certain point, and like really, it's really when you're taking care of your responsibilities, taking care of the people that love you, and then like, you know, taking accountability for the consequences of your action. When you're doing that, like that's what makes you a man. Not like, oh, I'm doing some yard work. Like, okay, yeah, that's a good responsibility, but if you're not, you know, handling your business elsewhere, like then you're falling short, man. Like you gotta step up to the plate sometimes, and it sucks because. Yeah, I want to go. I have the FOMO, and I want to go do this, and I want to go do that. But like, I also have a mouth that depends on me. So no, I can't go spend $100 and go do this, or no, I can't get this new, golf club or whatever. Like, no, I gotta make sure I handle this shit first, and
Yep.
then like, okay, if I can, then like I will. But like, I'm sure you're not just going to Vail, Colorado, without making sure Maverick's taken care of. It's like you're hustling, you're doing your hours, you're doing your work, and like that's kind of how I see it now, where I'm like I feel good about who I've become because I'm handling my business. And like anybody that like sees me, they'll go, yeah, you were a impulsive knucklehead that like did dumb shit all the time, but like now you're a complete 180. Yeah, I still have moments where I like doing dumb
Yeah.
shit or whatever, but it's in moderation and it's under a lot of my control now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
No, dude, that's yeah. I mean, to your point, like you said, having Maverick, like for me, and same for you, having your daughters,
Mm,
it forces you to grow up. It does.
100%.
I actually just said this to someone at the restaurant. I was having a conversation. And I was like, I don't think. I was like, if we didn't have Maverick, as
Mhm.
unplanned as it was and as chaotic as it was and terrifying, if we didn't have Maverick, I'm not sure that I ever would have started growing up.
Dude,
Like I just,
I'm probably would be like either I'd be super broke, I'd be um like an alcoholic, I'd be like a drug addict, or I'd be like dead or in jail. Like just because I was in that lifestyle. I worked I don't know if you've ever heard of the show Southern Hospitality on
yeah,
Bravo. It's like, yeah, I used to work at Republic as security. So like I'm out in the party scene all the time, every night.
yeah,
So it's just that stuff, like being around all of that is cool for a little bit until you're at somebody's house at 5 in the morning doing a bunch of stuff that's not good, talking to people that are talking about superficial dumb shit, and you're like, I don't give a shit what you're talking about. I don't know why I'm here. I'm tired. I don't know who you are. I don't care what you're talking about. I want to go home and sleep. Like, I got
hmm
work tomorrow. Why am I
yep,
here? And then you just are like, they don't like, as soon as you're gone, it's not like people are like going, dude, where you been for 2 months? They're like, they're just doing their regular thing. And then
yeah.
like you
They
realize
just
like,
you're there and you're gone, and that's it. They don't
that's it.
think
Like
two seconds about it.
if you're there, you're there. And if you're not, like, I hope you're doing well, but like, I'm not gonna sit here and cry about you. So
Yeah, yeah, dude, man, growing up is hard.
yeah,
Did you hear? This will be the last little point.
go
I'm
ahead.
curious to your thoughts on this. Maybe a year ago, I had a moment. I actually broke down. I started crying because I was like grieving not being the young kid I once was. Like there was almost like a grieving process I had to go through personally of like I'm not in that world anymore. Like
Yeah,
I have
it's
to like step
definitely
up, and
tough.
it was really challenging.
I've had moments like that where, I mean, and it's been, arguments and conversations with my wife too, where it's like, I feel like you don't ever let me do anything, like you're never like, it's not that she's not letting me, it's just she's being my like, almost just like my wisdom at times, sometimes like the decision we don't want to do, or the decision we don't want to make, is the right one. And like, and sometimes you just look and go, hey, that's a lot. I'm glad I actually didn't go do that. I would have been tired and like worn out and probably exhausted from listening. Like, I'm good at small talk and stuff, but when you get me around a crowd and I'm talking to people for like longer than 5 minutes, I get really like, I got it. Okay, I'm tired. I need to move on to the next thing. It's just, I
Mhm.
can't sit there. Like, I'm talking to you because it's just But when there's other stuff going on, like at parties, I'm like, all the overstimulation for me. I'm like, I can't
Oh,
I can't sit here and just have a, like, what are we talking about? Like, are we talking about something that meaningful, or are we just talking about like, dude, did you see that sports game last night? Like, okay, yeah, I did. Like, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and talk for 15 minutes about how many yards Tyreek Hill has,
right, right.
I'll
I'm
t-
dude, I'm same way. I'm like I really don't care. I don't
I
care.
don't. I want, dude. I want to talk about like, how you doing now these days. You like, oh, dang, you dealt with that. Like, how you handling that right now? Like, stuff like this. Like, this is much more enjoyable to talk about because it's worthwhile stuff that, like,
Hmm.
you're having an effect on me and I'm having an effect on you, and we can take this into the rest of our day and rest of our lives, and build on it. But like, I mean, that's about it.
Yeah. No, dude, that was exactly why I wanted to start this podcast. To be honest, I remember I remember telling my ex, I was like, I really want to start a podcast because I just enjoy these kind of conversations. Like when I listen to podcasts, sometimes I'll listen to Rogan and he'll just be talking
Oh
about
yeah,
whatever. But
yeah.
I
And
want
those
to
are
listen to like,
cool.
yeah, they're fun. Like you can put them on, especially like a long drive. They're 3 hours long. You're like, this is cool, and some of them are really good. But I would always listen to like the self development ones.
Hmm.
And to your point earlier, we were like, man, you see them doing it, and you're like, I want to do that. And
Hmm.
so eventually pulled the trigger, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just devote myself to doing podcasts like this, having great conversations, because they do, man. It holds you accountable, and it sticks with you. Like the rest of
Yeah.
the day, you're thinking about it, and you're like, when it comes to making a decision, and the forks in the road, you remember the conversation, and you're like, I want to keep making the good decision. Like I want to keep doing that. It really makes
Yeah.
an impact.
And I'll leave you with this, but like, some encouragement, like, because I'm the same way. I'm like, just how I'm thinking about like my workouts, right? Okay, I'm working out in January. What is it gonna look like in December? What am I gonna look like in December when I'm sticking consistent with this? And then I think about, like, you ever seen some of these like viral songs and you're like, dude, this song's sick, and they're like, yeah, the song's been out for like, or the group came out with it like 3 years ago, but somebody just like TikTok just started using it. Now it's like a big song. And like,
Yeah.
this group has been just performing like local gigs for, 3 years. Nobody knows who they are. And then all of a sudden it just blows up and you're like, yeah, that song's from like 3 years ago. This is my new stuff. Like, and then next thing you know, they're like on tour or whatever. So I just kind of have the same, that I have that mentality where like with your podcast, it's like, keep doing it, because I mean, you're not gonna stick at like one view for, not, I don't know how many views you have or on it, but like, you're not gonna stick at one view for 12 months. You're gonna like, as long as it's being like, you're bringing people on. Like, I know two people that are hopefully gonna look at this. Like, I know my mom and my sister will look at it. So like, my mom and my sister, okay, now they're like looking at your stuff, and now they're like, oh, he does some other cool stuff. And then like, you bring on another guy who's
Yeah.
mom and sister, and now you've got like 10 people that are like, oh, he does some cool stuff. Let's check him out. And let's now like, how do you think Joe Rogan did it? It's starting in a basement
Yeah.
doing comedy, and now he's one of the best like broadcast people in the world right now. So
Crazy. Yeah. Dude, that's super encouraging, man. And that's encouraging for people out there too. Like for whoever's listening, like you're working on something, just like stick with it.
Consistency.
Because
Hmm.
set the alarms, like set the
Yeah.
alarms, set the reminders, like do the thing, because it will help you. I'm gonna steal that from you, man.
Yeah,
I'm
do
gonna
it.
steal the whole setting alarms for count. Like I love that.
Send me a screenshot of what you come up with, and I'll be a judge for you.
I'm gonna do a screen recording of me just like
Yeah,
scrolling through all the
that's
alarms
what I
with the
did.
labels.
Yeah. You got to do that. You got to let people know, "Hey, I'm committed." I mean, it looks weird and stuff, and like I said, you don't have to be robotic about it. You don't have to be like, "Oh, I must stop," and like, but it's good because like I said, being in the military, you all right, yeah, I might wake up at 5:45, but at 6 o'clock the lights are coming on, and at 6:30 you have from 6:30 to 7 or 7:30 for chow. I'm gonna do it at this time, and then I'll get some other stuff done. And then we start quarters at 9 o'clock. So yeah, you have a stretch of time where you can do whatever you want, but like you must be here at this time. You must eat at this time. You must do this at this time. And like I gained 15 pounds in boot camp because of the eating 3 meals a day, working out every day, like the structure of it, Which I
That's crazy. Usually
yeah,
it's the opposite.
I'm 5'8". I was 170, so I was in pretty good shape, but I'm now back down to 154. So I'm trying to get back up to like 160, 165. So
I love it.
yeah, man. So
All right, dude. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's your Instagram handle?
it's
And
at the
I'll link it on the
present.
bottom too.
Yeah, at the present underscore father. And then if you want to follow like my more personal account, it's nothing Johnstone. If you ever seen Game of Thrones, like Jon Snow. So
That's hilarious. I love that.
yeah, man. So
I'll link both of them down bottom for people if they want to reach out and stuff.
all right, man. Hey, Kyle, thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it, and have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, same to you, man.
Let's
I'll
do it
uh
again.
I'll follow up with you and we'll get one on the books and we'll 100% do another one.
All right, let's do it, man. Peace.
All right. See you guys.